Well, hello and welcome back. So excited that you're here. Today, we're going to be talking about how to start homeschooling with confidence. I told you guys in the last episode, talking about how I almost quit homeschool this summer, that I was going to be doing a little bit of a series on just different topics about homeschool because it's a question I get in my inbox all the time. A lot of people that come here see that I homeschool and do all the other things and they have questions. They want to start homeschooling themselves. They wonder if they can homeschool, those kinds of things. So if that's you, or if you're already homeschooling, I am excited to get to share a little bit of our journey with you guys. We have been homeschooling now for 2 years. We're going into our third year of homeschooling. We started in first grade for my oldest son. We completed second grade last year, and third grade will be coming up this year. When he went to kindergarten, we just had decided that homeschool was something that I had been ignoring from God, and I just couldn't ignore the pull anymore. So we decided to finish out the kindergarten year and then take him out of the school system and homeschool him. And I have another episode planned to actually talk about why we started homeschooling and all the reasons for that in a future episode that will be coming. So stay tuned for that if that does interest you. But today, like I said, we're going to be talking about how to start homeschooling with confidence, because I know that when I was going into it, I felt so unequipped. I felt so lost. I felt so confused. There was so many questions that I had, and I just didn't know where to start or what to do. And so today I'm going to give you some tips on how to get started and how to get started with confidence. So we're going to start first with how to get started specifically, just because those are kind of the more formal, I guess, or the action-oriented things that you have to do. So to get started, the first thing you need to do is research the homeschool requirements in the state that you live in. If you just go to Google, type in homeschool requirements for whatever state you live in, you'll be able to find what the requirements are. They're different in each state. Some states require testing, some states require reporting, some states require nothing. So just make sure that you know what the requirements are, how to withdraw your kids from school if they are in public school, what forms you need to fill out yearly, or if you need to fill out forms yearly to show that you are going to be homeschooling your kids, those kinds of things. It is different for each state, so I'm not even going to get into what I have to do, because if you're not in Georgia, it would be different for you. So make sure you do your research on what are the requirements for homeschooling in the state that you live in. And then secondly, you have to start taking action on those things if you're going to do that. So really getting into, okay, if I'm going to do this, I need to start now, because one, like the school year is starting soon. So if you're going to do it, you got to do it now so that you can start the school year homeschooling versus putting the kids in school and then pulling them out. You got to make a decision. And I think that's kind of in line with the second step as well, is you have to just decide. I didn't feel 100% ready the day that we decided to homeschool. I went back and forth and back and forth, and I talked to homeschool moms, and I did all these things that I'm going to share with you. And I was still just questioning things. And then the day that I filled out the form that I had to fill out and I purchased the curriculum that we were going to use, I felt so much peace and excitement over the homeschool year to come, and I knew that I had made the right decision. But sometimes we have to do the uncomfortable thing and just make the decision, and then we'll get the peace after we do it. If you just sit and question it, you're never gonna get anywhere. You'll never get that peace. So just make the decision and just go for it. So some of the tips that I have for starting the homeschool year with confidence: ask yourself why you want to homeschool. And for me, I made a list. And like I said, I'm going to talk a whole nother episode about what our reasons were for homeschooling. But I sat down with a pen and paper and I just wrote out all the reasons that I wanted to homeschool our kids, what it was going to do for our family, why I wanted him out of the public school system, what benefits we would have if they were at home with us, those kinds of things. And everything that came to mind, I just wrote it down, and I had this huge list of the reasons I wanted to homeschool. And then you make another list on why you're hesitant to start homeschool. And I can almost guarantee you that your list of why you want to homeschool will be longer than your list of why you're hesitant to homeschool. And that might help you make your decision as well. So ask yourself why you want to homeschool. What is it that makes you feel like this is something that you're being called to or pulled to? Number 2 is to ask God for peace about the decision, and then again, make the decision. So you have to pray. God has to be at the center of your homeschool, in my opinion, center of your homeschool for it to really thrive and do well, because it's not always easy. There are hard days. And so asking God for a peace about the decision, but then also for a peace throughout the homeschool journey for you to feel the excitement is also beneficial as well. And so ask God for a peace about that decision. Or if it doesn't feel like homeschooling would even be possible for you, I just talked with a lady in my small group about this. One of my friends, she wanted to homeschool. She had all the reasons. She had her list of why she wanted to do it, but it didn't seem like it was going to be possible with her working and things like that. So she started praying for God to make a way if it was what he wanted for her, and he made a way. And now she is leaving her job and she's homeschooling because he made that way for her, because she asked for that way. So ask God for peace, and then if there's not a way, make sure that you ask him to make a way where there seems to be no way. The third thing is to talk to other homeschool moms. Ask them why they love it, why they started homeschooling, what are the pros and cons, what are the things that they enjoy the most, but also what are the hard moments, what are the things that you need to be prepared for mentally, because you don't want to go into any decision thinking like it's just going to be a walk in the park, it's going to be so fun, we're going to homeschool the kids, you're going to listen the whole time, and it's just going to be amazing. Like, no, you're going to have hard days, it's going to be tough. You just have to be ready to handle those days, and you'll be more prepared to handle those hard moments if you ask ahead of time what those hard days might look like. And you'll be blindsided by things. Like, there were things that people didn't tell me, but you learn as you go as well. So talking with them about what they like and what they don't like also started to give me confidence and say, okay, well, if they don't like that, they're not the best at math, for instance, and they felt like that was going to be a big thing, but then they decided that they're going to use this curriculum that's going to help them with math so they don't have to teach it to their kids when they get into the middle school ages and math gets harder. There's ways around those things. And so if you talk to people about the good and the bad, they're going to share how they've overcome the bad and why they focus on the good. So talk with other homeschool moms. The next thing is to research curriculum. Obviously, this is kind of a no-brainer, but the curriculum is important because I think a lot of times we think that we have to imitate what the school system looks like. So our kids typically go to school for 8 hours a day, and then they come home and they have homework. So we think we need 8 hours a day plus homework for our kids, and that is not homeschool life at all. I don't know anybody that homeschools that way. We homeschool for like 3 hours a day max, and then we have like what I call our extracurriculars, which is like sports or field trips, or I call home ec. Like, they learn that my kids have learned how to do laundry and cook and clean. That's all part of it. They exercise with me, so they have PE. So there are lots of ways that we add in to make it a little bit of a longer day, but that's more just life stuff that they get to do versus sitting in a classroom for 8 hours bored. So research curriculum that fits your life. There's a lot of open and go curriculums. I'm going to be sharing the curriculums we use in videos to come over the next few weeks. But really remind yourself that the curriculum gets to suit your life. You don't have to suit the curriculum, if that makes sense. So you get to choose the curriculum. You get to choose what you use in the curriculum and how you do it. You just want to make sure you keep your kids on track, but you could look at the standards in your state and keep track of where your kids should be. But honestly, you don't really have to. Like, I've never really tracked that, and we gave our oldest son, Brian, he's going into 3rd grade, we gave him a standardized test this year just to kind of see where he was, and he was at the 4th grade level and above for everything, and he's going into 3rd grade. And I have not been looking at what Georgia's teaching, what the school here teaches. I've just been going with the curriculum and teaching him and taking time on the lessons that are harder and breezing through the things that are easier and celebrating those easy weeks. And we have just made the curriculum fit us. We take science and history and we do it as a family versus having 3 separate curriculums for 3 separate kids. And so it's just, you make it what you want it to be. We've done years where each of them had their own science and their own history curriculum, and we decided we did not like that. So you get to do what you want to do with your homeschool journey because you're in charge. You decide what works and what doesn't work for your family. So research curriculum that fits your life and pick the one that you feel the most confident going into. The next thing is to get your spouse on board and ask for their support. I could not be an efficient homeschool mom if I didn't have the support of my spouse. It's a job. It has taken a lot out of like just running errands and doing things throughout the day, because we do have to sit and do school. Like, there is requirements of things we have to do. And so I don't get to just like run to the dry cleaners for my husband now. Like, I don't always make it to the grocery store or clean the house. Well, I do clean the house throughout the week, but I don't make it to the grocery store during the week. I do that stuff on the weekends, and he helps with like getting the house ready for the week. We all clean the house on Sundays and mop and dust and do all those things so that the house is ready for all of us to go into our week, for my husband to go to work and for us to be here ready for school. I had to get him on board with not only praying for and supporting me and being that backbone that I need sometimes with discipline or with prayer or with courage or confidence or praise. Sometimes I just need him to tell me that I'm doing a good job. I needed his support. I still need his support every day. And so asking your spouse to get on board with you and asking for their support is huge. And it will make a big difference if they're on the same page with you and they support you and they're willing to help you, and you could lay those things out, what that might look like for you. And it might change. I didn't know exactly how I would need his help starting out, but as time went on, I started to say, okay, I know that like mopping the house takes a couple hours, and it would be so much easier if him and I just both did it on Sundays. And so we do it together on Sundays after the kids go to bed. We mop the floors. Like, that's just our new thing. And I take care of most of the other stuff throughout the week. He mows the lawn. He does a lot of those things, and I'll help if I can. But we have just come to the realization that we all have to work together as a team. The house can't be all on me, and then all the teacher stuff on me, and then all of the other stuff on me. Like, we have to work together as a team to help make this homeschool journey efficient and effective for our kids, and teamwork is what helps us do that. The next thing I have is set up a homeschool space. Now, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It could be a couple desks. It could be your kitchen table. You could decide that you're going to do it at the bar in your kitchen, a picnic table, on the couch. Like, it doesn't have to be something fancy, but having a space that's designated, for us at least, as our homeschool space has helped us to really focus on, okay, now we're getting into school mode. We're going to focus on school for the next few hours. And it also gives me confidence and makes me feel like this sounds silly saying out loud, but it makes me feel like an official teacher, like having a space where I go and this is where I teach my children. That makes me feel confident as a homeschool parent. That may be totally bogus to somebody else, so if that does not apply to you, if any of these tips don't apply to you, you don't have to take them. I'm just sharing what has given me confidence. But setting up a homeschool space that's designated for our school time really helps me to feel like when we sit here, we do school, and then the rest of the house is the rest of the house, and that's just how it works for us. And we look forward to going there. That's something that we each look forward to. In the mornings, we know that at this time we're going to start school, and we're going to start, go on with our day. And then once we're done for the day, and we could go do whatever else we have to do. And then the next thing, tip number 7, is to pray for confidence and excitement and for God to lead you daily. Every day I have to pray and ask God to guide me and to lead me and to help me and equip me and remind me that He's on this journey with me, and it's not just me, and that I'm not alone. And I pray for strength, and I pray for self-control of my tongue, and I pray for all of these things so that He could be the center of our homeschool. I pray for my kids' hearts and minds, but being in prayer with Him will give you confidence beyond your understanding, because in the end, this is all for Him. Like, I'm pointing my kids to Him, and I'm giving them back to Him, and so I'm asking Him to give me confidence as I do that, to remind me that I am doing a good job on the hard days and those kinds of things. And then the last tip that I have is to look for the blessings. Look for the blessings in your homeschool. Look for the moments like this that are just silly. Look for the things that make you just feel proud of what you're doing, and focus on those. There's going to be hard days. There's going to be hard moments. But if you take the time to really ask yourself, what are some really awesome things that happened today? And you write them down, or you pray on them, or you thank God for them, or you talk to your spouse about them, or your friends about them. You'll start to have more joy and more confidence in your journey because you're focusing on those things. Whatever you're focusing on is what's going to feel more present in your life. I used to say what you focus on duplicates. what you focus on is going to duplicate. So if you're focusing on all of the hard moments, on all of the bad things, on the lack of confidence that you might have, you're going to feel more of those things. Like if you're looking to buy a car and you're thinking, I'm going to buy a red SUV, you all of a sudden start seeing red SUVs out on the road. If you look for the blessings, you're going to start to see more blessings along the way. If you look for the bad things, you're going to see more of the bad things along the way. And if you go back to my video that I shared last week about the struggle with wanting to quit homeschooling, it was because I was focusing on all of the wrong things. I wasn't focusing on the blessings, and that started to affect my confidence as a homeschool parent, and I felt like I wasn't good enough and I should just let it all go. So look for the blessings and ask God to show you what you're doing well so that you can keep doing more of that and you can create more of those moments, and that'll also give you confidence in your homeschool journey. And the very last thing that I have, it's 9 tips instead of 10. I don't know, just 9 is the number that came out, but 9 is to really remind yourself that God has created you for this. I want to quote Esther. I know it's kind of cliche, but for such a time as this. He created you to be your kid's mom. He created you to homeschool. If this is where he's leading you, then he's already created you and equipped you and called you to do this, and you can do it in his strength. And you got this. Sometimes I think we just need to hear it. You can do this. You're going to have hard moments. You're going to have hard days, but I promise you there are far more amazing, incredible moments that I've had with my children than there have been bad. And I don't remember most of the bad moments. I remember most of the good moments because I focus on those, because I've chosen to focus on those. So really ask yourself, if you're afraid of making the decision to homeschool because of confidence, how can you create confidence in yourself? I just gave you 9 tips. I hope at least a couple of them helped you. If so, I would love to hear it in the comments below. You can message me or email me, however you want to reach out. If you have questions about homeschool, about where to start or how to do it, or if you want me to elaborate on any of these topics that I've already talked about today or these points, let me know. I'm happy to chat with you. Homeschooling has been one of the biggest blessings of our lives, and I'm so grateful for it, and I can't wait for this upcoming school year, and I pray that God will give you the peace and the confidence and the clarity to move forward in the direction that he's calling you to. And I thank you for letting me speak to you on this topic today, and I hope that something that I said helped you or encouraged you in some way, and I will see you or talk with you next time. Bye, guys.